Hi, it's Nookies. I hope you're all well and safe. You're enjoying the nice weather. I'm going to continue on with our book, and finishing off chapter one today, which was called Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue? Yeah, that's the name of this. I forgot. Peggy Sue, excuse me. Right. So far it's been a bit of a depressing start. He hasn't got the best kind of start off in life, and now I have lost the page. Where am I? Yes. So there we were. I was there when the phone call came a week or so later. I knew it was my father. My mother said very little, so I couldn't understand what was going on. Not until she sat down afterwards and told me. He sounds different, Michael. I mean, like his old self. Like his very old self. Like he used to be when I first knew him. He's found us a place. Just pack your stuff and come, he says. Fareham, somewhere near Southampton, right on the sea. He says, there's something very different about him, I'm telling you. My father did indeed seem a changed man. He was waiting for us when we got off the train, all bright-eyed again and full of laughter. He helped us with the cases. It's not far, he said, ruffling my hair. You wait till you see it, monkey face. I've got it all sorted, the whole thing. It's no good you trying to talk me out of it, either of you. I've made up my mind. What about? I asked him. You'll see, he said. Stella Artois bounded along ahead of us, her tail held high and happy. We all felt like that, I think. In the end, we caught a bus because the cases were too heavy. When we got off, we were right by the sea. There didn't seem to be any houses anywhere, just a yachting marina. What are we doing here? My mother asked. There's someone I want you to meet, a good friend of mine. She's called Peggy Sue. She's been looking forward to meeting you. I've told her all about you. My mother frowned at me in puzzlement. I wasn't any the wiser either. All I knew for certain was he was being deliberately mysterious. We struggled on with our suitcases, the gulls crying overhead, the yacht masts clapping around us, and Stella yapping at all of us, until at last he stopped right by a plank that led up to a gleaming dark blue yacht. He put the cases down and turned to face us. He was grinning from ear to ear. Here she is, he said. Let me introduce you. This is the Peggy Sue, our new home. Well, considering everything, my mother took it pretty well. She didn't shout at him, she just went very quiet, and she stayed quiet all through his explanation, down in the galley over a cup of tea. Anyone else's mum ever do that when you're in real trouble? It goes just quiet. It wasn't a spur of the moment thing, you know. I've been thinking about it a long time, all those years working in the factory. Alright, maybe I was just dreaming about it in those days. Funny when you think about it. If I hadn't lost my job, I'd have never dared to do it, not in a million years. He knew he wasn't making much sense. Alright then, here's what I thought. What is it that we all love doing most? Sailing, right? Wouldn't it be wonderful, I thought, if we could just take off and sail the world? There's people who've done it. Blue water sailing, they call it. I've read about it in the magazines. Like I said, it was just a dream to start with. And then, no job and no chance of a job. What did the man say? Get on your bike. Why not a boat? We've got our redundancy money, what little of it there was. There's a little bit saved up and the car money. Not a fortune, but enough. What to do with it? I could put it all in the bank like the others did. But for what? Just to see it dribble away until there was nothing left. Or, I thought, I could do something really special with it. A once-in-a-lifetime thing. We could sail around the world. Africa, South America, Australia, the Pacific. We could see places we've only ever dreamed of. We sat there completely dumbstruck. Oh, I know what you're thinking, he went on. You're thinking all we've ever done is reservoir sailing. Dinghy sailing. Excuse me. You're thinking it's dangerous. You're thinking he's gone crazy, loopy in the head. You're thinking we'll be flat broke. But I've thought it all out. I've even thought of your gran. There's the thing. We won't be gone forever, will we? She'll be here when we get back, won't she? She's perfectly healthy. We've got the money. I've done my sums. We're going to do 6 months training. We'll be away a year, 18 months maybe, just so long as the money lasts. We're going to do it safe, do it properly. Mum, you'll do your yachtmaster certificate. Oh, didn't I say? I didn't, did I? You'll be the skipper, Mum. I'll be first mate and handyman. Michael, you'll be the ship's boy, and Stella, well, Stella can be the ship's cat. He was up of it, breathless with excitement. We'll train ourselves up, do a few trips across the Channel to France, maybe over to Ireland. We'll get to know this boat like she's one of us. She's a 42-foot, bowman, best make, best design, safest there is. I've done my homework. 6 months' time, and we'll be off around the world. It'll be the adventure of a lifetime, our one chance. We'll never get another one. What do you think, then? Excellent, I breathed. And that was exactly what I thought. I'll be skipper, you'll say, my mother asked. Aye, aye, Captain. And my father laughed and gave her a mock salute. What about Michael's school, she went on. I've thought of that too. I asked in the local school down here. It's all arranged. We'll take him all the books he'll need. I'll teach him. You'll teach him. He'll teach himself. I tell you something for nothing. He'll Learn more in a couple of years at sea than he ever would in the monkey school of his, promise. Ask your parents what they think about that one. We'll see. She took a sip of tea and then nodded slowly. All right, she said, and I could see she was smiling. Why not? Go ahead then. Buy her. Buy the boat. I already have, said my father. Of course it was madness. They knew it. Even I knew it. But it simply didn't matter. Thinking back, it must have been a kind of inspiration, driven by desperation. Everyone warned us against it. Gran came visiting and stayed on the boat. It was all quite ridiculous, she said. Reckless, irresponsible. She was full of doom and gloom. Icebergs, hurricanes, pirates, whales, supertankers, freak waves. She heaped up horror upon horror, thinking to frighten me and so frighten off my mother and father. She succeeded in terrifying me all right, but I never showed it. What she didn't understand is that we three were already bound together now by a common lunacy. We were going, and nothing and no one could stop us. We were doing what people do in fairy tales. We were going off to seek adventures. To begin with, it all happened much as my father had planned, except that the training took a lot longer. We soon learned that handling a 40-foot yacht was not just dinghy sailing in a bigger boat. We were tutored by a whiskered old mariner from the yacht club, Bill Parker. Barnacle Bill, we called him, but not to his face, of course. He had been twice round Cape Horn and had done 2 single-handed Atlantic crossings, and he'd been across the channel more times than you've had hot dinners, my lad. To tell the truth, we none of us liked him much. He was a hard taskmaster. He treated me and Stella Artois with equal disdain. To him, all animals and children were just a nuisance, and on board ship, nothing but a liability. That's what word I said. So I kept out of his way as much as I could, and so did Stella Artois. To be fair to him, Barnacle Bill did know his business. By the time he had finished with us, and my mother had been given her certificate, we felt we could sail the Peggy Sue anywhere. She had inculcated us in a healthy respect for the sea, but at the same time, he had inculcated us. At the same time, we were confident that we could handle just about anything the sea could hurl at us. Mind you, there were times when I was scared rigid. My father and I shared our terror together, silently. You can't pretend, I learned, with a towering green wall of sea, 20 feet high, bearing down upon you. We went through in troughs so deep that we never thought we would possibly climb out again. But we did, and the more we rode our terror, rode the waves, and the more we felt sure of ourselves and the sea around us. My mother, though, never showed even the faintest tremor of fear. It was her and the Peggy Sue between them that saw us through our worst moments. She was seasick from time to time, and we never were, so that was something. We lived close, all of us, cheek by jowl, and I soon discovered parents are more than just parents. My father became my friend, my shipmate. We came to rely on each other, and as for my mother, the truth is, and I admit it, that I didn't know that she had it in her. I always known she was gritty, that she'd always keep on at a thing until she'd done it, but she worked night and day over her books and charts until she'd mastered everything. She never stopped. True, she could be a bit of a tyrant if we didn't keep the boat ship-shape, but neither my father nor I minded that much, though we pretended to. She was the skipper. We were going to take us around the world and back again. We had absolute confidence in her. We were proud of her. She was just brilliant, and I have to say, the ship's boy and the first mate were brilliant too on the winches, at the helm and dab hands with the baked beans in the galley. So we were a great team. So a few words here you might not know. So like galley is a kitchen in a boat. But like if there's any words you don't know, just maybe think about looking them up. So on September 10th, 1987, I know the date because I have the ship's log in front of me as I write, with every nook and cranny loaded with stores and provisions. We are at last ready to set sail on our grand adventure, our great odyssey. Gran was there to wave us off tearfully. In the end, she even wanted to come with us, to visit Australia. She'd always wanted to see koalas in the wild. There were lots of our friends too, including Barnacle Bill. Eddie Dodds, came along with his father. He threw me a football as we cast off. Lucky mascot, he shouted. When I looked down at it, I later saw that he'd signed his name all over it like a World Cup star. Stella Artois barked her farewells at them, and every boat we passed in the Solvent. But as we were sailing out past the Isle of Wight, she felt strangely quiet. Maybe she sensed that as we did, there was no turning back now. This was not a dream. We were off round the world. It was real. Really real. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to go to chapter 2, which is called Water, Water Everywhere. So we'll find out what that's about tomorrow. Have a good day, and we'll see you soon.